Okay. Ring City DLC, boss 1. So, first off, buffs. There is enough time to drop a couple of buffs just before one of them gets to you, so I got in the habit of like doing that every time. Always went for the one that was closest to me, purely so that I can get as much damage like in as quickly as possible. I honestly didn't care which one I got at the end. I found them both like challenging in their own right. Both of them have like really difficult AoEs I found that were obnoxious, so I didn't care which one I got first, which just meant that I would just take whatever damage I could get on whichever target was available. Obviously a good general strategy is to go for the one that's being a little bit docile while the other one is aggressing on you, but I personally found that meant that your camera was then concealed behind the docile one and you couldn't see the attacks that the aggressive one was using. So a lot of the time I personally felt like you were better off just dodging the attacks of the aggressive one, because you can see the stuff come up through the floor of the docile one generally like that. I mean, that's really easy to see, good big tell, and you know, you just got to make sure you're carefree with the dodge. So I originally started with a spiked mace, which was very effective for the bleed damage, but it was also like a dark variant which only works on like these two, but I found that bleed straight sword is obviously just like it's just a lawnmower for these enemies. That bleed is so effective. I'm just doing so much DPS. And because it's so fast as well, you can just, you know, stop the animation, dodge if things start getting bad. You can get loads of like single hits in that you wouldn't be able to get with any other weapon. And of course you don't have the stagger ability, you know, to open up for the crits, but you still do so much damage, it just doesn't matter. It's not even remotely competitive. A bleeding straight sword is the one, like a barbed straight sword. It's a really good attempt. I found a lot of like one of my best strategies was to like get some buffs in, like between it powering up, ember up after you kill like one of them, or ember up when you've killed both of them. When you're on like low health, be really efficient with the heals, flash sweat quickly. When I was first trying to do this, my equipment load was like so tight, I had to go into the menus and change to my pyromancy flame just to get that buff on between all of that. And there is enough time to do that, but it is very tight. Now again, this fight is like so reminiscent of like fighting Ludwig in Bloodborne, because obviously your phase 1 is quite tough, but it's tough in a cheap way, like same way that Dark Lake is cheap. You know, two enemies that are basically just very difficult to handle, because there's just a lot of stuff coming at you at once, and sometimes you're just going to get a little bit unlucky with it, especially with how much your camera gets obscured, like just because they've got very big, very sweepy attacks. They've got big wings that are constantly in the way of your camera. But yeah, like because of that, a lot of the time you don't even get through the first phase to see the second phase, and then all of a sudden you get really, really good at it because you've just tried it so much back to back. You finally get into your second phase and you realise you don't know anything about this boss. Like, you've not seen half of the attacks. I kept finding I'd get through every so often and I would see a new move and I was just like, wait, is this even the same one? But it's just because some of them have like some of the skills in their moveset you just don't see as often as others, so I found this guy's like, his absolute worst attack is where he 180s and just slams down on the ground immediately. Like, that attack was just so hard to cope with. I also suffered a lot because I didn't lock on ever, and when he flies up into the air, either of them, like, you you really struggle if you're not locked on, because your camera doesn't tilt and you can't see when they're coming down, so you have to do it like time based, which is similar again to Ludwig when he used to go up. I just used to do that based on time. I'm pretty sure your lock on snaps off. This was a good fight. I actually did enjoy this, even though this was really tough, but not the toughest.